So, maybe you're staring at a math problem. Doesn't make sense. Or a paper and you just don't know how to start, or maybe a quiz you're really nervous about. Lots of students feel that way. The good news is you don't have to figure it out alone. And that's where GCC's tutoring comes in. So this week on Study With Me, we're talking about how tutoring can support your success as a student. We'll cover how it works online and what you can expect in a session and how to make the most of the help that's available to you. I'm Lloyd from GCC's online learning team, and this is episode 11, Boost Your Brainpower. Now, I'm excited because we have a special guest with us tonight, Liz Wolcott, one of GCC's professional tutors. And with that, I'm going to let Liz share a little bit about her background and the kind of work that our tutors do with students. So welcome.
Thank you, Loy. I have been here at GCC. This will be my second semester as a professional tutor. I also am an adjunct that I taught last fall, and I teach a class currently this semester. And I have other colleagues that also are professional tutors in our learning center that have different backgrounds. So there's quite a few of us to visit at the learning center.
Thank you. So I hear you have so you have tutors for different subjects?
We do. We have different sciences. We have chemistry, we have vet tech, nursing, we have writing tutors, we have tutors that can help with academic success, time management, we have students for different courses in math. If you need help in a specific course, there's also Star New York, which is an online tutoring available if we don't have appointments available that you need.
Oh, awesome. That sounds like a lot of options for our students. So I have collected some questions that students ask about tutoring, and for the rest of our session here, I'd like to go through and just ask you some of the questions that students are asking us. So let's start with our first segment, Getting Started. When students first hear about tutoring, sometimes they're not really sure how it works, especially when it's online. So I want to start right there. How does online tutoring actually work? I mean, do the students need special software? Is it as simple as logging in on their computer? Like, how does this happen?
So this semester we now have, because we have Microsoft 365, we are utilizing Teams instead of Zoom for our virtual platform that students can use to log on. So they need to be able to access Teams. There is, once they've made an appointment, there is a link that is sent to their email, and they just click on that link, and then at the appropriate time for their tutoring, will be connected with their tutor.
Oh, awesome. So a little like Zoom, but it's just a slightly different link.
That's right.
Oh, awesome. That's really simple. Okay, so, and a follow-up to that, let's talk about cost. Do the students have to pay for tutoring?
No, our service is free. Students are able to come without a cost and have access to professional tutors.
Oh, nice. Okay, so sounds good. Like, I want to do this. I can click on a link and I don't have to pay anything. How do I actually set up that first appointment? Do I need to schedule it? Is there a wait list? If I need help with, say, something that's due tomorrow and I really, really need help with it right now, how does that work?
So there's options. You can come to the library. The Learning Center is located within the library. And when you need assistance, you may come into the library, and if it's during morning and afternoon hours, we usually have our office assistant there, Deb, that can greet you and help you make an appointment. If she is not there, there's also a notice that you can go to our kiosk, which is located as you're coming into the library. If you turn to your left and go past the circulation desk, there's the first computer. There's our kiosk that you can log in and make an appointment there. It can be right at that moment. You can have the first available tutor, or you can make an appointment for another time. If there isn't a tutor available, You can also send an email to tutoring@gcc.edu, and they can get back to you to let you know if there's some other options available, like Star New York, and give you that link.
Okay, and we can put that email address on the description of the podcast when we post it. So, awesome. And what if a student's online? Like if I'm an online student and let's say I'm in, I don't know, Arizona. Like, how do I make an appointment?
So there is, if you go to My GCC, right on the page in the center, it says make an appointment. And you may wonder why or who you are making an appointment to, but it is to our Learning Center. So you click on that and it will come into our Who's Next platform and then schedule your appointment for. It lists various subjects that you can click on for appointments.
Okay, and it's called the Learning Center.
It is.
Right? Okay, so when they go in to make an appointment, that's what they'd be looking for. Okay, awesome. So that's good. That's good for getting started. And now let's talk about what they might expect in a tutoring session. So I know, like, I'm really nervous when I walk into a new space for the first time, a party full of people I don't know, or some kind of event. I've never been to that kind of event before. Oh, wow, what do I do? And well, tutoring's no different. We probably have a number of students who've never been to tutoring. So let's say a student has made their very first tutoring appointment ever, and they click the link, and they're in Teams, and they're not sure what's going to happen next. So what can they expect from a tutoring session?
So the tutor will greet you and ask you what it is that you're looking for help with. So if you can be somewhat specific on the area that you need help with, if it's study skills or a specific problem that you're working on within your class, if there is an assignment that you're struggling with, let them know which area they could focus in with you, and then they'll ask you some questions. But be prepared that the tutor is not going to give you the answers. They're going to be asking you some questions. They want you to lead the discussion so that it's in your hands and you have control over what we discuss and you get help with. And also having available any notes from your class, any textbooks can also be of assistance to your tutor.
Oh, awesome. So we had a little bit ago, we had episode 6, and we talked about the art of asking questions. And one of the things that we talked about is don't ever say, oh, I don't understand. You have to come in and say, okay, I understood up until this point, and here's where I don't understand. So you're saying the same thing with tutoring, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that would be very helpful. It definitely makes us be more productive in our sessions.
Okay, yes. So something that students ask sometimes, how often are they allowed to come to tutoring? How often can they do that?
All right, so you may come, you can schedule appointments in advance, and the appointments are 30 minutes long. You may have 2 30-minute sessions each day, so you can schedule each day 30 minutes with a tutor. And if you want to go weekly, you can schedule in advance with the same tutor. If you know that tutor is being very helpful with you, you can schedule in advance with them.
Twice a day. Nice. And a regular weekly appointment. So while we're on the subject, and I realize I didn't ask this, what hours are tutoring open?
So it does vary between the days based on tutor's schedule. Most of the time there's a slot available at 9 to 10 that's virtual. And then the tutoring Learning Center opens when the library is open on Monday through Thursday. Our longer hours we have into the evening. Fridays we are just there from 9 until 2:30, and again the 9 to 10 is only virtual, and then at 10 o'clock starts with the library. Mm-hmm. Back to when I was mentioning about tutoring appointments, you may have a back-to-back appointment. If you know that you're struggling in an area and you want a whole hour block with a tutor, you can try to find that and do the back-to-back session.
Oh, nice. So if you're really got a big test coming up and you got a ton of questions, you can have a whole hour. Okay, nice. Okay. So that's talking about the sessions, and I want to talk a little bit about the kind of students who might be, tutoring might be advantageous, but they're really not confident about when they can come see a tutor. Like when is it appropriate to do that? So the first question, students tell me, the hardest part about tutoring is getting over the nervous feeling. Okay, I got to ask for help. I've got to be vulnerable. I've got to say, I don't know. And they're a little bit embarrassed. I don't understand it because, well, you're a college student. You're here to learn. Of course you don't know. But how does a tutor work with them in that situation?
Well, it's really important to recognize that we all can use help at times and not to be embarrassed at all with that. Our tutors try to put you at ease and make you feel confident to ask any question that you may need help with. We also have available, if you're really nervous and want a quiet where there's less distraction, we do have a room set aside for us in the library that allows for privacy. So you can ask for that as well coming in.
Mm-hmm. Well, and obviously if you're coming into like a Teams or a Zoom, then it's just you and the tutor there, right? Oh, nobody else has to know.
Right. Yeah. And actually you're taking control of your learning, so it shows a really diligent student taking charge of their learning by coming and asking for help.
Absolutely. That's actually the kind of student I think that most of our instructors would like to work with, students who reach out when they need help and who do something proactively. Right. Okay. So I just kind of looking at the questions that students ask, students will very commonly say, my class is really specific. My class is, these specific slides or this specific homework or these specific requirements. And they worry that the tutor's really going to get that. So, we have so many different instructors. We have so many different assignments. Can the student really trust that the tutor will get the assignment and get the material and understand what's needed?
So that may not happen, but we're looking at trying to help you look through the material that you've been learning, process, and kind of teach us. So when you utilize and go to a higher level of understanding of your material to teach someone, you're actually understanding it to a level that makes it more ingrained in your memory.
Oh, nice. So you learn by teaching a little bit. Oh, that's a wonderful opportunity for our students. All right. So because many of our listeners to the podcast are online, one of the questions that they will ask me very frequently is whether online tutoring really works, because they're used to sitting down with a tutor in person and you're working over the same piece of paper, and you can see red marks, you can talk about things. So when you talk about online tutoring, how is it different from in-person tutoring? Like what kind of advantages might there be and what sort of downsides?
So the advantages, as we said, there's less distractions. It's personable where you are focused in on, you may have an assignment that is a digital format that you can share it with each other and then be able to both look at it. Even in writing, there's the option to put comments right in there so that you can see them at the same time. We also now with Teams have a whiteboard option that we can utilize that, and for math we also have document cameras that we can work through problems together. The downside for it's more difficult for a student to share things from their notes, things that are handwritten on their side to be able to work through.
So when you talk about a document camera, you mean like a camera that's looking at a document?
Right. So from our, we often as math tutors are able to demonstrate a problem and how to solve it utilizing the document camera.
Okay, nice. So you can watch the tutor work through the problem. Nice. Okay, wonderful. So, and all of that is great when the tech is behaving. So, what happens when the tech doesn't behave and something goes wrong and the internet drops out, or a student can't get their mic to work? Like that's embarrassing to begin with, and then frustrating when you're trying to work with a problem. So how do you handle that?
Absolutely. So it does happen. You have to recognize that we're both human, that there will be technical errors, just as if in person people were running late. So having that grace with each other. You may have to reschedule an appointment. You might not in a 30-minute session be able to get all the help that you needed, especially if we're having technical difficulty.
But they can make another appointment.
Absolutely.
Then. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So we talked a lot about how tutoring works and, what kind of students should go to tutoring. I want to walk into students who ask me that how do I really make use of tutoring? How do I make the most out of it? So some students will say, when is the right time to come to tutoring? So the question is, do I wait until I'm really struggling? Do I come in at my first moment of confusion if I'm just a little unsure? Like, which one is better? Do I bother the tutors all the time? And using the word bother in air quotes, okay, nobody can see me, but I'm using air quotes. Do I bother the tutors all the time, or do I wait until I'm really stuck?
So you're never a bother to us. We are here to be of service to you. So coming as soon as you are unsure of something in your class is probably to your benefit. There are times that we might not be able to answer a question, and we may refer you to your instructor, but coming in the beginning, we can help you be able to talk through it, and how to articulate that things to your instructors is also very helpful. One thing to note that I didn't mention, if you're wanting help with a writing piece, our writing tutors are mainly only going to comment on content. We don't help with grammar, and we don't help with citations. The librarians help with the citation. Unless there's errors with grammar that are regular, we might help with point out some things. But in general, our service is just on content, giving you ideas on how to revise the content.
Well, I know we've had one of the librarians in here who did just a phenomenal job with citations. So they're even telling us how we can cite AI. Like, okay, yeah. So the library will help with citations, and the tutoring will help with your writing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. So, all right. I'm a student. I set up a session. It's coming up. What do I prepare? How do I get ready? What do I do to make the most out of my time? I only have a half an hour. Let's get the most out of it that we can. What do I do?
So be prepared to have, if you're coming in person, come with materials from your class, your notes, if you have a textbook, if you have a writing piece that you're going to want to have someone look at, you can, if you know that tutor ahead of time, you can send that to tutoring@genesee.edu and request that tutor look at it ahead of time. It should be in Word document and be using your student email. And you can also, we have 3 computers in the Learning Center, so you can be ready to bring up your account and utilize it there for us, especially if there's an assignment instructions that you want to share and show us what the professor is asking.
So basically you want to have all your things on hand.
Okay. That's most helpful.
Okay. All right. And something that students will say, they'll say, well, I don't want to start using tutoring because I don't want to rely on it all the time. I don't want to use a tutor because then when I go to take the quiz, I can't have a tutor help me, and then I won't know the stuff. So when students work with a tutor, is that something where, are we afraid that they're using it as a crutch, or is it more of a learning experience?
So it definitely is a learning experience. We encourage for you to take ownership of sharing what you've learned, and so that you can explain it. We don't just do the problem for you and expect you. The more that you can practice, have repeated practice of math problems or going through the material, that will help you prepare for your quizzes and tests.
Okay. Well, that's the questions that students have posed, and those are some great answers. So it sounds like that our students have a lot of resources to them available to them on campus. So it's been really helpful. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Lori.
And we've covered a lot tonight. And success with tutoring, I think, like so many other things, comes down to small steps taken one at a time. So here's a key question for you. What's one small thing that students could do this week to get started with tutoring or to make the most of their tutoring session?
So I would say come into the library, make an appointment with Deb. She is a very friendly face, will be helpful. If you can't come in person, then also go on my GCC and click the Make an Appointment. We're looking forward to meeting anyone that needs our assistance, so please reach out to us.
Okay. And for anybody that wants to connect with you, well, you said they can come in and they can talk to Deb, or you said it was in my GCC where they make an appointment?
That is right.
Okay, so button right up in the center. All right, well, thank you again for being here, and we appreciate you coming in and sharing your insights with us.
All right, thank you, Lori. Have a great night.
All right, thank you. So that brings us to the end of episode 11, which is Boost Your Brain Power. And with Liz's help, we've talked about how tutoring works online, what you can expect in a session, how to get the most out of the support that's available for you. And I think our big takeaway is this, that our tutors and our learning center is here to help you. So your challenge this week is to take one small step. And we always say that, take one small step, but maybe it's making your first tutoring appointment, or dropping in with a quick question, or checking the tutoring schedule so that you know what's available, what courses are there. Whatever speaks to you, just try that one thing and see how it feels. And I also want to remind you that the Success course for GCC students, which is in Brightspace, has a whole lot of questions and answers in it, including all kinds of questions and answers about the Learning Center. So how to contact a tutor, how to reach out, which subjects are covered, and how to ask for a tutor when your subject is not covered. So those things are all in there, along with the Star New York backup that we've referred to a couple of times. So there's links in there to get you connected right away. And if you're a GCC student, I'm going to invite you to stick around for a Zoom after party. Again, we use the word after party in air quotes. We basically have a Zoom session afterwards where online learning can answer your questions one-on-one. You'll find the link in Brightspace. Anytime you're having difficulty with your online course, you can always drop in there on Thursday nights at 7:30 in Zoom. Link is right up in the announcements, and we hope to see you there. So thank you for coming.